Take a closer look at the cases against the Israeli Prime Minister. The most serious one accuses Netanyahu of offering incentives to the country's largest telecom provider, Bezek, in exchange for positive coverage in media it owns. The Prime Minister is also charged with colluding with Israel's top-selling newspaper, Yedioth Ahronoth, for the same reason. And a law was pushed forward to limit the circulation of a rival publication. The third case involves allegations that Netanyahu granted billionaires personal as well as financial favors after receiving more than $280 million worth of gifts and benefits from them. Al Jazeera senior political analyst Marwan Bishara is joining us to talk us through this situation, Marwan, because it's quite unprecedented that you have a first sitting prime minister in Israel to be charged and possibly indicted. How significant is this?
Well, absolutely. It's quite significant, not only because as we've heard earlier, this has been going on for over 2 years in terms of investigation, but it does come less than 2 months before the elections on April 9. And that's why it does have huge significance on the political spectrum, on the political governance in Israel. And for our viewers around the world, Doreen, just for them to get a picture of what looks like politically speaking in Israel, the parallels with the United States cannot be escaped. The Israeli Prime Minister is facing something very similar in terms of the reactions, in terms of the reality, in terms of the accusations and counter-accusations as to what's happening to President Trump. In the sense there's, like President Trump, Prime Minister Netanyahu says, and his allies claim that there is a conspiracy by the left, by the liberals, against him and against his camps in order to steal away the elections, that none of this is justified, that there is no collusion, if you will, between him and the magnates and the corporate giants, and that there is no wrongdoing. But in a sense, I think we will see in the next few days, weeks, how this plays out in Israel, because not only there are those on the center and the center left who are interested, but there are also those on the right who now would like to get a piece of the prime minister, even within his own party. And that's why a few days ago, Prime Minister Netanyahu was warning against one of his former aides, Gideon Saar, who came out the third, I think, in the Likud primaries. So I think there will be some competition from within the party and from without the party.
Yeah, on the Likud party specifically, what does this mean for them? Will it be losing a chunk of its support or the ability to form some sort of coalition after the vote?
Look, something similar to what Ben just said from Jerusalem, in the sense that there is a majority within the Likud that will speak about, for the time being, about a conspiracy against the Prime Minister. But there are some now that will say, look, enough is enough, and Prime Minister now is no longer an asset. He could be a burden because the general public does not trust Netanyahu and might not want to vote for Netanyahu or for Likud in that sense. So it's better to put Netanyahu aside for the time being and for the Likud to run under different leadership. Now, having said that, Doreen, it's important to note that the 4 other smaller parties on the right, both the religious and the secular, basically the radical right in Israel, have already said that they are willing to join a Netanyahu coalition rather than other kind of coalition within Israel. So in general, in Israel, the right continues to support Netanyahu. And even if Netanyahu loses, and this is the most important thing about this whole thing, the right in general will continue to govern in Israel, whether it is the new party, the new coalition that is forming on the center-right, or whether it is the Likud and the other people on the right, other parties. I think generally speaking, with or without Netanyahu, the right will continue to govern in Israel.
Okay, Marwan Bishara, thank you.